Oh, welcome in to the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Vols on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Hey, doing good, brother. Just got done watching this SEC schedule release. Come to find out, Tennessee afraid to play Army. That's where things are at these days. How you doing, brother?
Mike, that's best news I heard today, man. I was a little worried about those Knights coming in and smoking us next year. So I think this is a smart move. Pay them, get them out of here. You get somebody else on the schedule. We need guaranteed wins right now, Mike. I think that's what they're going to need next year as well, and to boost some of that momentum. So this was a smart move. But there was some also a couple other interesting matchups that they released as well.
Yeah, so let me break those down here. I'll throw them up on the YouTube page if you're watching video. But week one, some marquee games here, some games I really like, Shane. How about this one? Mm-hmm. And, of course, this is Saturday, September 3rd, 2022. Cincinnati at Arkansas. You know, Cincinnati's been pretty solid here.
Yeah.
Utah at Florida. That's an interesting game. Memphis at Mississippi State. Revenge game right there. Now, here are the two big ones. LSU versus Florida State in New Orleans. Of course, that'll be a Sunday game. And then Georgia, Oregon in Atlanta. Oh, how about that one?
Oh, baby, man. I'm telling you, these guys potentially could meet in the playoffs right now. So, yeah, I like this matchup. I don't like the neutral field, but at least the New Orleans game, I mean, that's going to be kind of like a home game. But, yeah, other than that, man, I really like that matchup.
And then here are the other week one games. The rest are cupcakes here, so I'll just go through them real quick. Utah State at Alabama. Miami, not the good Miami, but Miami of Ohio at Kentucky. Troy at LSU.
Wish list Miami.
Missouri at Middle Tennessee State. Georgia State at South Carolina. Ball State at Tennessee. Sam Houston State at Texas A&M. Elon, wherever the hell that is, at Vanderbilt. And then Mercer at Auburn. So that rounds out the week one schedule.
Well, I fell asleep there at the end, Mike. So I think we found our noon games.
Now things really start getting interesting here. Week two of the season, Shane. Man, SEC games already here. Kentucky at Florida, week two of the season. That'll be a good one. South Carolina at Arkansas. I like that.
Come on now.
And then, will this be a conference game? We'll have to wait and see. Alabama at Texas.
Sarkisian, you just thought you were getting away from Nick Saban.
Tennessee at Pitt. A little revenge factor there.
Mm-hmm.
How about this one? Mississippi State at Arizona. And Missouri.
Hey, let me ask you. I hate to rush through this, Mike, but over under Peyton Manning talk at the Pittsburgh game, that's going for 8.5. You taking the over or under there?
It depends on if that damn quarterback gets his 8th year of eligibility or not. You know. And then last one here, Missouri at Kansas State, a former Big 12 matchup there. How about that?
Okay, all right. Hey, let me ask you. Because, obviously the big game here, but a lot of people are going to want to talk about is Alabama and Texas. You and we've talked a lot here in the offseason about, these teams, Oklahoma and Texas, joining the SEC next year. So do you see that as a sign that things may not progress quicker than expected? Or is this just, scheduled right now and subject to change?
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't read too much into this, Shane, because this is standard procedure. This is how we do it every year in the SEC. 2 or 3 weeks into the season, we release the schedule for the next year. And I think they have to keep that going. We can't, as we all know by now, Texas and Oklahoma are currently contracted to play in the Big 12 until 2025. So, there's already potential litigation out there. I don't think the SEC can sit here and say, well, I know we're under, we have Texas and Oklahoma under contract coming in 2025. Let's hold off on the 2022 schedule for the, you know what I mean? Like there's just so many issues you're going to run into. I would imagine the Big 12 will sue your pants off as soon as you announce you're waiting till December or whenever the heck they'll finally come to a decision there. So I think they have to keep it business as usual, but we could be sitting here doing this here in a couple months, blowing the whole thing up with Texas and Oklahoma officially coming to the SEC for next season. Again, I don't know that that's going to happen, but I certainly think they're doing everything they can, Texas and Oklahoma, that is, to get out of the Big 12 as soon as possible.
Yeah. I'm just curious, and when you add two more teams in the SEC, then you say, well, do we subtract some of these non-conference games? I don't know. There's just I'm just curious how that's all going to play out. Would you think we'll know something before the season's up, or do you think this is something we won't hear about until like December, January?
Yeah, I think it'll be the off season. We'll find out for sure.
Okay.
I think probably the drop dead date will probably be when they have the spring meetings, which is I'm trying to think. I think it's in May. I think by May we'll know for sure whether it's happening this year or if it's happening a little bit earlier.
Okay. All right, man.
Now, how about this real quick, Shane? I don't want to do a whole damn show on breaking down what's coming next year, but week 3, there really are some really cool games here. Penn State at Auburn. We just saw the other side of that last weekend. Ole Miss at Georgia Tech. I think that's an interesting game. How about this? Miami, the real Miami, at Texas A&M. And then we've got Mississippi State, LSU, Georgia, South Carolina. So week 3 of the schedule in the SEC is going to be pretty interesting, don't you think?
Yeah, especially when they get that turnover chain out there, Miami in the third quarter when they're down 48 points.
And then one other, I just want to mention this briefly because I think it's week 5 of the season, but it's so interesting. Arkansas at BYU. It's not often that we get a SEC team going out to BYU. I know Tennessee scheduled to do that in a couple years. I remember Mississippi State did it a couple years ago. So that's one to have on your radar as well. I mean, that's not one of those destination games where you're going to, the nightlife is not it is what you'd expect it is there in Provo, but it is one heck of a venue, and the setting out there is fantastic. So it might be worth the trip just for that,
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, this is one of those opportunities. If you've ever wanted to get out that way, you can knock it off your bucket list.
Mm-hmm.